phases I felt contributed to this game back and forth. And so it was a really challenging game for both teams. And so it was big for our guys to come away with the win.
Can you walk us through your view of that second touchdown for Tyler?
Yeah, the longer one, the short one. Yeah, the scramble. The scramble, yeah, that was a big time play by Tyler. Pass play on first down, trying to get ourselves an opportunity. They did a good job jamming the receivers, and so we kind of got caught up. It got a little messy on the backside, and so for him to scramble and make a play like that, it seemed like there's scrambles a lot of times on the touchdowns against these guys on film, and lo and behold, another one showed up.
And I mean, just considering the conditions today, I'm sure you were assuming rain was going to be part of the forecast, but when it gets the way it did, did you all have to kind of change things on the fly and lean more into the run game during this game?
Yeah, second half for sure. The rain was substantial. It reached a point where, obviously it was going to impact the game much more. First half was kind of off and on. That was good for us to get the first possession of the game, to have the ball right there right before it rained, because obviously we knew the rain was coming quick. So that was a big drive for us. And then I thought our guys ran the football really well in that second half. I thought it was a good response by our guys, and the physicality showed up.
You guys have now beat Cal on both teams that are tied for first in the division. You have both on the road. Just make the record. How much does that tell you how close you guys are?
Yeah, our guys have faced a lot of adversity this year. They've grown a lot as we've gone through this journey. And so, I think for our guys to keep battling, keep giving ourselves opportunities like this, I think division games are important no matter what. Every single year, it's important. You play these guys multiple times every single year. There's going to be big battles in the future and future years too. And so, it's every opportunity in a division game is huge.
This is just like one data point out of a lot of them for Tyler. You see rookie putting together that game, lead a game when you drive in the fourth quarter. What was that?
Yeah, I thought resiliency was awesome. Really good first drive for us. I thought we kind of got stuck there for a while. Much of the second quarter was a little lethargic there, and we just weren't executing at a very high level. And so then for our guys to respond, I thought in the second half, certainly with the run game, but then making plays when he had to. Some big third downs. I thought Vele and CO made some big-time third downs. Jawan made some third downs in there. Seemed like there's timely plays by those guys.
I think you guys had 5 stops on fourth down today. A couple of them big late in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, just credit to our defense, big time. Fourth downs, big time plays, whether it's the run game or the pass game. Run game, big time stops. Grando made the big tackle for loss. Kool-Aid on the sideline. There's the play where, there's a catch and he's physical at the catch point and makes it a bobble catch. And so, credit to our guys. They made some big time plays.
What do you think Devin did today?
Yeah, Devin was awesome. Really cool to see him go out there and play the way he did. Really lead that run game, the physicality he played with, the finish that he played with. And then even on the third downs, I thought the check down completion, he makes a play there and gets a first down. That was huge in this game.
Yeah, just the physicality in general.
Yeah, just proud of our guys, the way they played. The resiliency. There's not everything is going to be perfect in a football game. You just keep battling, keep going through it. I thought that drive to start the second half was really, really important for us. And the way, it's pretty much a run every time. And they came off the ball and made some plays.
Touch on this a little bit, but is a game like this can it be pivotal or turning points for a rookie's confidence going forward, meaning Shough? Just, just all the things that were stacked against him, the weather, it's a tough team.
Yeah.
Do you look at it like that?
These are great opportunities for him to learn. You're going to play on the road, a really good opponent. This opponent's going to be battling all the way to the end, and then the weather obviously became a little bit of a factor, and so we had to face that. And so, I thought his resiliency was really special.
Did you guys consider challenging it? It was estimated that they're down one, you're goal line.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a tricky thing because initially we viewed it the way it came in. It looked like it was being reported as a first down. And so we tried to go tempo in the reverse scenario to try and make sure we can snap the football fast because they, initially it looked like it was a first down and then they kind of pulled it back and turned it into 4th and 1. And then we weren't able to get the replay there. And so that was a little bit of a challenging situation for us. And so, we weren't able to get it done.
It was like a game clock issue then?
Assumed it was first down, went tempo because obviously, felt like it was close either way. Then it got pulled back to a fourth and short, and we weren't able to get the camera just because we were already in tempo, and so usually TV is going to go right to the live action in those scenarios. So, a little bit tricky.
You know what happened on the interception in the communication between Shough and Alontae?
Yeah, just not on the same page. Obviously, something for those two guys to work through. Didn't get done.
But just for you personally, I mean, like, having been through a challenging season, what's it like getting to experience a winning locker room and that?
Yeah, it's a good win for our guys. It's awesome. Again, for our guys to be battling, playing December football, still playing meaningful December football, maybe in a little bit of a different way than you hope. Obviously, I think our guys are battling for each other. They're playing for each other. They want to win all these. And, I thought just the way our guys responded for 4 quarters was really special. Tyler? I got down there pretty far, yeah.
Any update on Austin Richards?
Yeah, we'll see. He's got an ankle. So he wasn't able to return. We'll get the update tomorrow.
You touched on the shorter touchdown run by Tyler, but can you take the play call not behind that design run with the
The longer one was a read option play where, we're using some motion to create some lead blockers for him. Used the play a couple times. He pulled and, it was really a special run by him. I mean, for him to open up and run away from some people, and it was really a big time play.
It's the same play as the one worked in the first quarter, right?
Similar, very similar. We used a few read option plays for him this game, and so a couple different variations, but certainly it showed up a number of times in this game.
Does that? I mean, you all ran for like 148 yards today. Does Tyler and his ability as a runner open things up for the guys in the offense?
I think it's a big part, especially when you play Todd and the way Tampa's going to play defense. He does a phenomenal job stopping the run. Can't remember how many times I feel like we've played Tampa, and it's been really, really brutal to try and run the football. And so big time credit to our guys. I thought Tyler having that ability to run the football obviously played a factor into it. And so big time plays by our guys.
The 4-minute offense, obviously, as you're around the clock today, you're moving the ball in midfield. Just how important is that for closing a game?
Yeah, the 4-minute offense is obviously big. It's not all run game. There's going to be hard third downs in there. You got to get conversions. I thought our guys did some really good stuff. We got it bleed down a little bit. Obviously, we would have loved to get one more first down and finish it off the right way, but credit to our defense. They responded really well, and to get that fourth down stop was big time.
Would you make it? I mean, obviously, you got to watch film, but like first man has a call, so you make a couple huge plays for the other day.
Granderson. Yeah, big time. Two tackles for loss, game ball worthy, big time plays. I thought our guys were relentless. Baker made some big time plays on third down using his legs, and I think that's the challenge when you play these guys is Baker can make those extended plays, and so that showed up in the game. That was a challenge for our guys, but our guys just to keep battling was really cool. All right, all good.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast, giving you all the State of the Saints podcast post-game show. The New Orleans Saints get the victory, knocking off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 24-20. This moves the New Orleans Saints to 3-10, and watching this game, Who Dat Nation, I believe, I think I speak for a lot of Saints fans in here. I may not speak for some of you, but I think that this may have been the most impressive victory of the New Orleans Saints this season. Like, I don't think any of their victories were more as impressive as this victory was versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I understand that against the Giants, they generated 5 turnovers. I understand against Carolina, they were able to completely neutralize Bryce Young in that offense. I get all that. I understand that. But I just think as a complete game where you've seen both the offense and the defense, as well as the special teams, contribute to the success of this victory, I don't think you can find a game where all of the pieces came together and they just end up winning a football game. I just don't. But, credit to the New Orleans Saints. Nobody expected them to win this football game, especially when you look at what Tampa was facing. They were a team going into a game lock and step with the Carolina Panthers. Carolina trying to win the division. The Buccaneers are trying to win the division. So they really wanted this game desperately. And the New Orleans Saints went into Raymond James, and they were able to get the victory and pull off the upset. Number one, I think that the New Orleans Saints have found their starting quarterback. I think they have found their franchise quarterback. I don't even think that this is up for debate anymore. Tyler Shough should be and will be the future of the New Orleans Saints at the quarterback position. Like, if he didn't win you over today, I don't know what it would take for him to win you over. This was a guy that put the team offensively on his back. Like, it has been a hot minute since we have seen a quarterback that has led the New Orleans Saints, that has put the team on his back the way that Tyler Shough did today. Tyler Shough, if he was not in this lineup, I don't think the Saints win in this football game. The way that he commanded the offense, the way that he was fighting off tackles, the way that he was improvising, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, the way that he was able to convert on third downs, finding guys in the middle of the field like Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson, Devon Vele, that little flip pass that he threw to Devin Neal that ended up being plus 14. The fact that he able to shred off 3 defenders for a 13-yard touchdown, the 34-yard touchdown scramble. I mean, even that pass that he threw on the first game from scrimmage, he threw it down the field to Chris Olave. Even that one should have been a dime breezy. They just couldn't hook up. I'm not going to go at him for the interception. I just think that him and Chris Olave were on the same page. It seemed like he thought maybe Chris Olave was going to run an up and out. And you had Chris Olave kind of just ran, a little bit of an out route and kind of stopped. And it was just a miscommunication there. But Tyler Shough put together a stellar performance. And to me, I don't even think it's a debate anymore. Like, the Saints have found their starting quarterback. And look, I already know what some Saints fans are going to be saying. Like, you looked at this game, you're seeing that they won. Some of you probably looking at it like, oh man, the Saints going to drop in draft, in the draft. Now they go from number 3 to number 5. Look, you want to win as many games as you possibly can. And honestly, if you are going to win a game, this is how you want to win, because you feel like you have a quarterback of the future that is helping you win these football games. Because if you're talking about top 2, top 3, then you're probably asking yourself, should you go ahead and draft a quarterback? But the fact that Tyler Shough played the way that he has and has been, even the game versus Miami, I know they had a few little hiccups here and there, but there was still a lot of things in that game that showed you this guy has some talent. That is why I tell people, I said this. I said, I see some Big Ben in this guy, Big Ben Roethlisberger. I see some Josh Allen in this dude as well. When it comes to improvising plays, he's deceptively fast. Like, he's able to get down the field. A lot of people don't really realize how fast he actually is. He checks all the boxes. You put some more pieces around him. You put a running game behind him. As we've seen today, the New Orleans Saints couldn't throw the football because of the inclement weather. It was raining. It was coming down out there. I mean, it was so bad that you had to have fans go inside the tunnel. You didn't even have fans, for the most part, in Raymond James sitting in the bleachers. So they had to run the football. But credit to Devin Neal, credit to Evan Hall, credit to Estime. Like, these 3 guys were able to run the ball effectively. Devin Neal, it was his coming out party to me. I think that he really showed that he could possibly be a part of the Saints' plans when it comes to the running game. I want to see the Saints improve their interior line and what this offensive line can be. And if you can put a really good running game around a guy like Tyler Shough, who can be a part of the running game in his own right, then the New Orleans Saints can have an effective offense. So I think what we saw today was a little sneak peek of what this offense can actually be if they put some better pieces on the offensive side of the football. Now, it wasn't perfect. It was not perfect. You had 10 penalties in this game for 89 yards for the Saints. Like, it wasn't perfect. And a lot of those penalties came from the offensive line. Rather, it was holding penalties. Rather, it was false start penalties. So you still got to clean some of those things up. There's a couple plays that I just felt like kind of cost the New Orleans Saints, especially early in the game, for them to not be able to pull away when Tampa was able to get pressure. They sacked Tyler Shough 3 times in the first half. Now, Tyler Shough does need to get rid of the football. I think sometimes he tries to wait way too long in order for his wide receiver to break off his route so he can maybe throw the ball to him. But sometimes you just got to take what the defense gives you. If you got Devin Neal open as a check down, just go ahead and throw it to him. It might end up being a 1 or 2 yard pass, but something is better than nothing. You want to stay ahead of the chains, and you want to try to be as effective as you possibly can. When you're playing away from home, you don't want the crowd to get into it. You want to milk the clock, and you want to stay on the field as long as possible. But credit to him, I'm talking Tyler Shough. In the second half, he was able to get the ball out quickly, and he was able to, run the football as well as hand the ball off, and the Saints running game got a little bit more effective as the game went on when Devin Neal, Evan Hall, and Estime. So I thought it was a really good offensive performance. To me, I think that maybe if the weather didn't play a role, I'm kind of wondering what type of game this would have been offensively. It seemed as if Kellen Moore wanted to throw the football, but it started to rain, so you couldn't. So it kind of took the passing game out of the equation. So you had to run the football, but it's probably good that it happened, because who knows? You wouldn't have known how effective this running game could have been if you were throwing a football and trying to counter a Tyler Shough throwing the ball 30 and 40 times and trying to, pull away. And it also helped the New Orleans Saints stay within their bag. Them getting the opening drive touchdown, and, you had Tampa, who was able to get their opening drive touchdown, but the Saints defense was able to keep them at bay. The Saints didn't have to shy away from their offensive playbook. They were still able to stay within themselves and also create things and also try to come up with plays that are effective offensively. So this is what happens when you go out and you have yourself an opening drive touchdown. This is what happens when you're able to neutralize a team offensively from on your defense, with your defense rather. When you're able to get stops on 4th down, when you're able to convert on 3rd downs, you're able to stay in games, and you can be there to the very end. So credit to the New Orleans Saints. I thought that this was a complete game by both sides of the football. Credit to Mason Tipton setting the tone. Yet again, we see Mason Tipton having a big-time return. I don't know why after that return, we didn't see him returning kicks no more. We seen Dante Pettis, which he is not, he's not short of making plays in his own right. But I don't know, man. Maybe go with the hot hand. Maybe they just felt, well, Mason Tipton a part of the offense, so let's not try to utilize him so much on special teams. But hey, man, if this guy's running and returning kicks like that, you might want to keep him back there. He's flipping field. All in all, like I said, I thought this was an impressive performance by the New Orleans Saints. Great, impressive performance by Tyler Shough and Devin Neal, 2 rookies that you're going to be relying on. And I just think that the chemistry between those guys, you can tell and you can see it. I can tell you how and why, because there was a play last week where the New Orleans Saints, I believe that I was against Miami, where you had Devin Neal was in the backfield, and you had Tyler Shough kind of flip him the football, but Devin Neal wasn't looking for it. And if Devin Neal would have turned around, he probably would have got himself probably 5, maybe even 10 yards, right? I mean, if he can outrun the linebacker. Today, you can tell that they looked at that play and was like, okay, man, like if this happened again, I'm going to be there, because it ended up being a 14-yard reception from Tyler Shough to Devin Neal. So those are the type of things that you see on film that you can actually learn from in game time situations that you can build chemistry with. I can tell that the Devon Vele, Tyler Shough chemistry continues to build. Devon Vele just continues to make clutch catches on 3rd down. He made a really good clutch catch in the middle of the field to keep the clock moving late in the 4th quarter. Couldn't come down with the catch on 3rd and 11, which to me, I don't feel like it should have been a pass in the first place. It was 1 minute and 47 seconds on the clock. You run the football and you milk the clock as much as you possibly can. You get the ball maybe to Tampa with about 54 seconds left on the clock, and you try to get Tampa to try to drive down the field with no timeouts with 54 seconds left. You saw what happened. The Saints defense was able to buckle down on the offense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Saints were able to go into victory formation. You got to trust your team at the end of the day. You got to trust your instincts. Your defense is showing you that they're worthy to be the last line of defense on the field. So to me, you should have ran the football. Luckily, the Saints, crisis was averted because Deion Jones couldn't come down with the catch. But you want to make sure that, you're playing situational football the best way possible. Also, when it came to situational football, there was a play, I believe the score was still 24-20. It should have, no, I think it was it may have been 21-20. I think it was 21-20 if I'm not mistaken. And you had a 3rd and 2, and Estime actually got the handoff, and it seemed like he got to the first down mark. And I'm thinking maybe the New Orleans Saints were going to challenge the play because it looked as if he got the first down. You had 3 timeouts right there. You challenged the play. Worst case scenario, you lose the challenge, you lose a timeout, but you still would have had opportunity to kick a field goal. I just don't know. It was 24-20 because the Saints went for it on 4th down. But anyway, you had an opportunity to be able to challenge the play, and you didn't. So to me, I just think that even though Kellen Moore, in the second half, a lot of the run plays that the Saints ran, I feel like were effective. It's still some things about Kellen Moore I think that he has got to get better at as a head coach, and that is situational football, because those are the type of plays that can cost you the game because you're being a little bit too passive. Like, you got to be able to challenge those plays. I don't know who is advising him. I don't know if guys are advising him or he's just not listening to him, but those are the type of plays that you got to challenge, and you got to go out here and fight for your team, man, because I think you probably would have won the challenge because it looked like Estime got past the first down mark. It was close, but I think he got close to it. But all in all, good performance by the New Orleans Saints. This is what happens when you play complimentary football. And thank you all so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast post-game show. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much. My name is TJ Jones. Been doing this podcast since 2018. Have produced over 1,800 episodes here on the State of the Saints podcast. And if you're into Saints talk, if you're into real Saints talk, I ask that you hit the subscribe button. We have a good time over here. And it's very simple how you can interact throughout the show. All you have to do is put your comments into the chat, and you can be a part of the conversation and a part of the show. Let's see. Desi is always been worse, in my opinion. I don't know exactly what we're talking about there. I'm gonna stroll up just a little bit because I know I talked about quite a bit. Says we also beat the Bucs decently healthy on offense. They had Bucky and Godwin back. Yeah, I thought that Chris Godwin, I like Chris Godwin, man. I'm not, I know he plays for the Bucs, but I got a lot of respect for that guy, man. I mean, he's had a lot of hardships throughout the years, but he's always played some real tough football and always been clutch for Tampa throughout his time there. And Bucky Irvin, is a really good running back. Credit to him. He got stopped in the backfield by Carl Granderson. He limped off the field, and he was able to come back. And, he had himself a big-time 30-yard run on the New Orleans Saints. And what about that stat? Speaking of run, what about that stat from the Saints? They said it was I think when Devin Neal ran a 21-yard run, it was the 3rd time this entire season the Saints had a 20-plus yard run. That's crazy. Like, come on, man. Three 20-yard runs in a season. Like, that's insane, man. That goes to show you, like, how ineffective the running game has been for the New Orleans Saints, versus how effective it was today. Let's see. NFC South ain't the best division. Yeah, I mean, NFC South is not a good division. It is not a good division at all. It goes to show you that any team can beat any other team in this division. It doesn't matter. And that's why I say, when we look at the schedule, when we look at who playing who, when, people are quick to say, oh, man, we beat this team by 30. What are we going to do with y'all? It don't matter, because in a division, everybody knows everybody. And you basically kind of formulate your team to be able to counteract what your divisional foe does. It's rather you try to get cornerbacks that can complement your offense, or be able to lock up against another team's offense, right? Let's just say if you have 3 dogs at the wide receiver position, you're probably going to go and draft a bunch of really talented press corners or something. Like it's just the way that the divisions are structured. So for anybody that just feels like, hey man, this is going to be a cakewalk, like, nah, anybody can beat, any team like in the division, as we can see. But let's go ahead and scroll down here. It says, give Shough some weapons and let's build for the future. I agree. I think that this is the game that pretty much proved that point too. Taysom Hill dropped every pass. Yeah, man. I mean, look, I mentioned this on the Bleacher Report post game not too long ago. Look, I like Taysom Hill. I think we all do. But I the more I look at him, it just seems like Father Time has caught up with him. I think that the injury that he sustained last season, I don't think that he's 100% healthy. And you can tell he has lost a step because of it. And, I know the Saints are trying to use Taysom, and, he is effective when you try to use him the right way. But looking at Taysom Hill, he's just not the same. And I just think that maybe you got to, start going to other guys, like, and to be a part of this running game, utilizing these running backs and, trying to be effective in that regard. So, no disrespect to Taysom, but man, it does look like he's lost the step, and he's not the same Taysom Hill, unfortunately. Says, does passes were too low for him to catch? Well, I don't think the passes was too low for him to catch. Like, a lot of times when quarterbacks throw you the ball that low, they don't want to throw you the ball up high, right? Because if you are trying to catch the ball, then you leave the midsection of your body exposed, right? So if a linebacker or a defensive end is making a beeline towards you, you have no way to protect yourself. Like, so if he's throwing the ball low at the ground, he wants you to maybe come back and kind of scoop it up. Worst case scenario, you fall to the ground and try to make a catch, but you're able to protect yourself. So a lot of times, those throws to the ground where people are like, why he threw the ball so low? You don't want your wide receiver, you don't want your running back midsection to be exposed if they're trying to go up for a football. And a lot of times that's how these players get blown up. So that's the reason why the pass was thrown so low. I understand why he threw it. And it wasn't low. It wasn't so low to a point where Taysom couldn't make a play on it. But but credit to Taysom Hill. He is not a tight end. He's a tight end according to position, but we all know what he plays. He doesn't have the strongest hands in the world. If you throw him the ball, he's a little bit wide open, he'll probably catch it. But if you're asking him to make play after play where you have a defender draped all on him, I don't think that's his wheelhouse. But I don't have a problem with the way that Tyler Shough threw him the football. This was huge. Too many. Tampa is tied for first place with Carolina. Yeah, this was huge. Desi. This was very huge for the New Orleans Saints to get this victory in Tampa. Like I said, they had a lot to play for. It wasn't like Tampa looked at this game and oh man, we're just gonna go ahead and steamroll these Saints. They wanted to win this game. They understood the magnitude of this game. The Saints just came in and they were motivated. They were motivated because he's not a starting quarterback. I don't know who we talking about here. Let's see. And the clock stopped running. Yeah, I didn't understand that. But according to what the commentary was saying, man, they were at the end of the day, it's the clock always stops under 2 minutes. I don't know, man. I don't know how he explained that. It just didn't make any sense to me because it shouldn't matter. If the Saints declined the penalty, right? You had Devon Vele make the catch. It was an offside penalty on Tampa. The Saints declined the penalty. That means that they didn't accept the penalty. So therefore, the clock should have continued to run. That was a mistake by the referees. I don't care how. How can you stop the clock on a penalty that does not exist? You gotta. If the Saints accepted the penalty, I can understand the clock stopping. The Saints did not accept the penalty. They declined the penalty. they decided to take the yards. So the penalty, even though it was called, they picked it up, doesn't exist. So therefore, everything that happens with a catch should have transpired, which means the clock should have kept moving. And to me, those were precious seconds. And it also gave Tampa an opportunity to get one more play before they had to use their final timeout. So to me, I just think that was just bad officiating, and it didn't make any sense to me. You know, I get it. You know, I get what they were trying to say, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Let's see. What up, TJ? Looks like Kool-Aid may have found the jar of sugar, and Moore learned how to score in quarter one with this team. Who that? Yeah, I mean, look, this isn't an outlier the way that Kool-Aid played today. Because if you look at how Kool-Aid was able to guard Emeka Egbuka throughout, like even in the first game, Emeka Egbuka wasn't a factor, and Emeka Egbuka wasn't a factor in this game either. So, like, to me, it was a really good performance by Kool-Aid McKinstry. It seems like to me like he's starting to come into his own, and that's what the New Orleans Saints need. And Quincy Riley has too. Like, I understand he got beat on that double move. Should have been a touchdown from Baker Mayfield to Egbuka. You know, sometimes you need a little bit of luck on your side, but I like both guys. I think that both young corners are playing really well. And I think Uriah Sinker is playing well too. I think that this was a really good game for him. I second that. We got our guy. Offense and defense are dog mentality on the field, TJ. Tyler Shough is a real answer from Coach Kellen Moore. Yeah, I think that when you have a quarterback, in order for you to believe in a quarterback, one of the traits I feel, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, this is just my opinion. I think that you have to see some dog in them, like a moment in the game where you just feel like, because we got this guy on our team as our quarterback, I believe we can get it done. And today, I think that Tyler Shough took a step in that direction. Tyler Shough made plays that makes you argue if he wasn't out there, the Saints probably wouldn't have won this game. Like that is when you are trending in the right direction when it comes to finding your franchise quarterback. Because the one trait that stands out for a franchise quarterback, for a starting quarterback on your football team is he a difference maker? Is him being on the field, does it matter? Does it make a big difference? Today, Tyler Shough showed the entire Who Dat Nation that him being on the field makes a difference. And that, to me, is a guy that is trending in the right direction. So I understand, like, sometimes people want perfection. People want 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, but Rome wasn't built in a day. The fact that this guy showed you that he has some dog in him, a dog-like mentality, a never-say-die attitude, those are the type of things that can help you win football games. That is what's going to get the fans back on your side, giving them a belief that they have a chance to win. Now, Tyler Shough has to build on this type of stuff, but to see that it actually exists versus a really talented Todd Bowles defense, you got to give him credit, man. You got to give him credit. And this is something that Saints fans needed to see. They you know, he definitely has to build on some of the things that he does well, but it's good to see that he can put the team on his back and make plays when they have to. Like, sometimes a perfect play is not going to happen. Sometimes execution is not going to be ideal. Sometimes you just got to go out there and just say, like, forget it. I'm about to go out here and I'm about to make a play. I'm about to run and try to get to this power line before this linebacker take my head off. And Tyler Shough did that. So to me, I think he won some Saints fans over. And I think this debate is, you know, on who's the future of this franchise, I think it's pretty much a closed debate. Tyler Shough is the guy. Sean Tucker seems to always kill the Saints. I don't think he necessarily, like, really killed the Saints today. I mean, he had that touchdown run, but I mean, what did he actually do? He had 7 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. It's not necessarily like killing the Saints. He had a longer 13. I mean, that was that drive where they just continue to put the ball on the ground. But I want to say that Sean Tucker did anything to just stand out today like he did in that game where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropped 50 on the Saints. And this was good, man, because we were like headed towards territory where the Saints would have went 2 consecutive seasons without beating Tampa. And I wasn't trying to hear that noise. I wasn't trying to hear that from no Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Oh, man, we swept y'all 2 years in a row. Like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that. Did the weather force the Saints to realize their strength? Do we see more design run plays for Shough, especially for a young quarterback? That is a very good question, and that's something that I alluded to on the Bleacher Report post-game show as well. Look, I said this. I think that the New Orleans Saints came out wanting to throw the football. I think that they came out wanting to throw the football, and Mother Nature forced their hand, which I'm glad that she did, because we probably wouldn't have seen the potential of a Devin Neal. We probably wouldn't have seen Evan Hall be a complimentary back and estimate chip in from time to time. We probably wouldn't have seen some of these RPOs from Tyler Shough. Probably wouldn't have seen Tyler Shough using his legs to make plays. So to me, I think that Mother Nature played a role in this game. And I think in the process, it forced Kellen Moore to call more of a run heavy football game. So because when I look at Kellen Moore, I look at him like he's the type of guy to me, if he feels like it didn't work in practice, we ain't trying to run it now. Or if he sees a guy don't get plus yards in a game, he'll probably shy away from it completely. Like he will just shy away from it completely. Like don't go back to it. And he'll just become like extremely pass heavy. So to me, I think that Mother Nature intervened, and I'm glad that it did. And in the process, it shows you that, number one, if you run the football effectively, like it doesn't matter. This is why I want people to understand. If you continue to run the football, I don't care if you're getting 1, 2, 3 yards a clip. If you continue to run the football and you have 220-pound individual continue to smash into a defensive line over and over and over and over, and you got the offensive line, these 300-pound guys pushing you back again and again and again, eventually your body is going to get tired out. You're going to feel fatigue. It's rather, you're going to start feeling little bumps and bruises throughout the game, getting your legs and extremities ran over, getting pushed back on top of the pile. Like you start to feel the effects of the game. And then third, fourth quarter, that's when you start to see those big runs. When did you start to see Devin Neal, Estime, and Hall really start getting a stride? Late third, early fourth quarter, right? That's when everybody started to wear down. That's when the defense starts to get a little bit tired, get a little bit weary. They start getting frustrated, right? So you continue to run the football. You cannot shy away from it. And I hope that they don't try to shy away from running the football. Like sometimes you find out that you actually have a strength in the most least possible ways. Like maybe you didn't come into this game expecting to run the ball 19 times with Devin Neal, but you ran the ball 19 times with Devin Neal and he gave you 70 yards. He also contributed in the passing game. What did he have in the passing game? He had 14 yards, right? So he had 84 total yards, almost 100 yards from scrimmage from Devin Neal. So it shows you, okay, man, he can catch the ball, shows you he can run in between the tackles. There was one play where, you could tell Devin Neal was starting to figure it out. There was one play where it was originally supposed to be bounced to the outside. He was supposed to go around Calvin Banks, but instead he put his foot in, bounced to the inside, got about 4 or 5 yards. That's when I was like, okay, little man getting it. And then there was another play where he was supposed to stay to the inside. He bounces to the outside. It was the longest run of the game for him. So you start to see Devin Neal kind of come into his own, and you're also giving these guys opportunities to kind of get started. I look at Devin Neal. Devin Neal is more one of those preheat oven running backs. Like the more you give him the ball, the more effective he's going to be. So yeah, I think that, the rain definitely played a factor in the game, and it helped the New Orleans Saints to be able to find a strength in running the football. And it muddied up the game literally and figuratively, and the Saints were able to play that smash mouth football that they needed to play in order for them to win. Jeremiah Love in the first, Casey Concepcion in the second, and a guard in the third. Yeah, look, all I know is the Saints need some playmakers. They need some playmakers on the offensive side of the football. They need somebody that's going to continue to make contested catches. Look, I'm keeping Devon Vele. If you want to keep Chris Olave, fine. But to me, I think that you need to look for your superstar wide receiver. That's what the Saints need to get. They need to find that superstar wide receiver. I think Chris Olave is a star, just not a superstar. Like, Chris Olave can get you catches. He can win his one-on-one matchups. But I'm talking about you need a superstar wide receiver, a guy that demands a double team, a guy that's just a bona fide certified dog out there and that can give you that 100 yards. Doesn't matter if he's been double covered or not. That is going to help a guy like Tyler Shough. That's going to help the running game. That's going to help Chris Olave because you're not asking him to be that number one guy. Like I said, Chris Olave to me is a star, just not a superstar. And I also think Devon Vele definitely can be a third down guy, even, a guy that can step up, and be that number two if something was to happen to Chris Olave. So they need playmakers. And they also just need to fix this interior. Even if the Saints don't decide to get Jeremiah Love, they feel like they got bigger fish to fry. Maybe they want to get a dog pass rusher, and be able to get him in the first round. Even if you don't get a Jeremiah Love, you can still be able to run the football and find yourself in an effective running game if you fix this interior. But you're not going to do anything of any significance consistently running the football if you don't fix this interior. Shough, remember, is injury prone, so running him too much, I don't know. Well, I don't think they were running him too much. I don't think they was running him too much in the game. And then on top of that, I think that he was making smart decisions. There were times where he kept the ball. He was able to get around the corner, dive before anybody could hit him. I just think that, he was diving for the pylon, and he got the touchdown. But, the way that he was able to dive, he was able to, get underneath the defender. So he really, absorb the contact the best way possible. So, yeah, I'm not saying that you need to make him Lamar Jackson or anything like that. But if there are opportunities present itself when he can actually run or get outside the pocket and get down and slide, then by all means do it. But, yeah, I mean, look, you don't take away something that could be a strength. I'm not saying, set up 12, 13 running plays for him. But if there's opportunity, maybe you're in the red zone and you can use Tyler Shough and have him do some RPO stuff in order for you to get a first down or maybe for him to get those extra yards. I mean, why not? I mean, look, just because a guy has a history of being injured, man, you can't just put him in bubble wrap and just have him back there looking like Drew Bledsoe and don't have him running with the football. I think that he can still make plays from the pocket all the while, be effective by using his legs. Forget the commentators. Yeah, they were trying to justify it, but there was some bad play calls in this game, man. Bad play calls on both sides. Shough shouldn't be running much or he'll get hurt. Look, I understand what people are saying, man, but you can't put dudes in bubble wrap. And, he made some plays with his legs. He was trying to run with the football. I have no problem with that. It was that type of game. Folks. It was a muddy, wet game, and you couldn't put the ball in the air very much. And, the fact that you actually have a quarterback that can run and be able to separate from individuals, that's a weapon. So, yeah, I don't think that you need to have him out there trying to be prime Vic or Lamar Jackson. But if he can run the football and you can utilize his legs, why not? Remember when Kellen Moore decided to run the ball last year? They won. Vele got to be retained. Yeah, I mean, look, they have him. They have his contract, right? So he's with them for at least another 2 years before I feel like they have to make any decisions on him. Trevor Trail believe we have a chance to win out. I mean, that would be interesting, right? Offensive secondary are gonna all gas, no brakes on the field, and defensive secondary are going to get blitz on Tampa Bay offense at first and second half, like that in a rainy game, just like NFL blitz on PS1. Look, look, the rain played a factor for both teams. Couldn't put the ball in the air, and it just kind of helped both defenses. We really did good on this current draft class. Yeah, this was a really good draft class for the Saints. I see a little bit of Ingram and Neal. Yeah, I mean, look, I see. I mean, Devin Neal is more of a one-cut guy. Like he's a one-cut back, and I think that you can do something with him. I just think that I think Saints fans will really fall in love with Devin Neal when the Saints fix this offensive line. Like that's when you're gonna be like, man, get the ball to Devin Neal. Like that's when you're really gonna see the Saints. Like you're gonna see Devin Neal be able to shine through. They just got to fix his offensive line. Jet Black, we have Vele for next season already. Fam, he's still on a rookie contract. Yep. Hey, TJ, I feel Shough has shown enough big plays to justify not drafting a quarterback with our first pick. I felt like Rattler was playing to not lose. This guy is playing to win, and he has the traits. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think that was the issue with Tyler Shough early in his starting campaign. I think that both guys were kind of playing like they were trying to just drive the car 10-2 without trying to crash it. And a lot of the things and a lot of the instincts that they had, they tried to suppress that. But now, as you see, they have given Tyler Shough, their complete trust, and he's out there. He's taking chances. He's making plays, and I think that he's playing a little bit more loose and free, and it's helping him to become a better quarterback week after week. So yeah, it's good to see that he's coming into his own. He's not finished yet, but every single week you start to see him like grow more and more, and it's great to see. We got great future potential. Yeah, I agree. Moore is young. This is his learning season. He's probably going to be better next season. I agree. With the game management and stuff. Yeah, I thought he managed the game pretty well. And honestly, to me, this wasn't a game management game like for Tyler Shough. Like the Saints won this game because Tyler Shough was their quarterback. The defense played well, and they won this game because Tyler Shough was their quarterback, and he played not to lose. Like he was undeniable. Like he played undeniable today. Like I'm not gonna lose this game, and if we lose this game, it ain't gonna be my fault. So to me, like he's already like, okay, he already showed you he can manage the game. Now he showed you today you can win a game because he's your quarterback, and that to me is the best. That is the best case scenario for the Saints, that that he is showing you that. Hey, TJ, I felt Shough has shown enough big plays to justify not draft. I think I already read that. Yeah, but yeah, I think he showed today. I think he showed today that he's a little bit more than just being a game manager. Tyler played really good. He shut me up, picking up blitzes, changing plays, and reading the defense good. Quarterback play. Yeah, real good quarterback play. Baker Mayfield sounded like John Cena when he turned heel. That's that we bullied him. Yeah, I mean, look, Baker made some plays, man. Baker was able to escape the pocket and, be able to fight for extra yards. Look, I like Baker Mayfield, man. I ain't got nothing against Baker. Baker is a tough guy. He believes in himself, and he got a chip on his shoulder. So, that's the type of dog that you want at your quarterback. You want somebody that's not going to give up, and you feel like you have a chance because he's your quarterback. But yeah, I mean, he was yapping, but at the end of the day, the Saints got they shut him up. Neal, a physical back. He needs an explosive back to team with. Neal will get you the tough yards like David Montgomery. Yeah, I agree. He's definitely that type of back. Bowles couldn't do his little crazy blitz package today. Yeah, he couldn't. The Saints live rent-free in Baker's head. Vele should be the red zone and third down threat. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but they was actually using Chris Olave in the middle of the field on third down. Like, if y'all notice, like a lot of those drag routes across the field, like it was to Chris Olave. So, and also, man, give great credit to Juwan Johnson, man. He came up big on some big time catches where the Saints needed him most. I believe he only had 4 receptions in the game, but he was targeted 4 times, so he caught all 4. So I'm gonna give him credit on that. Let's go ahead and take a look at these stats, man. I mentioned Tyler Shough, of course, 13 of 20, 144 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. and had a rating of 65. Now, these stats aren't going to knock your socks off at the quarterback position passing the football, but we all know what type of day it was for the Saints and the Buccaneers. It was one of those games where you had to run the football. So, neither quarterback numbers were stellar. I mean, even Baker Mayfield, 14 to 30, 122 yards and 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So wasn't like knocking anybody's socks off today because of the rain. You had Devin Neal, 19 carries for 70 yards, 3.7 average, had 1 touchdown. Tyler Shough, 7 carries for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. You had Estime with 3 carries for 11. Evan Hall, 1 carry for 4. You had Taysom, 2 carries for -1. All right, so the running game together collectively, 32 carries for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the Saints ran the ball effectively. They had a long of 34 yards from Tyler Shough. That was their 34-yard touchdown that he scored on. Devon Vele had 3 catches for 40 yards. Juwan Johnson, 4 catches for 38 yards. Chris Olave, 3 catches for 30 yards. Foster Monroe, 1 catch for 16. Devin Neal, 1 catch for 14. Evan Hall, 1 catch for 6. So 13 receptions for 144 yards for the pass catchers on the team. So, credit to those guys, because a lot of those catches that they made were third down conversions. Like I said, the Saints were able to convert on third down like pretty consistently in the second half. I believe they were 5 of 11 on third down the entire game, but they were able to find their stride and their groove in the second half. So credit to them being able to stay on the field and continue to convert. And when you stay on the field, you're able to keep the clock moving, right? So credit to the Saints offense. Defensively, the New Orleans Saints defense really made some plays today. I thought the tackling was really good. Demario Davis was able to stop, I believe that was Bucky Irvin in the backfield in order for the Saints to get a turnover on downs. Kool-Aid McKinstry was able to jar the ball loose from Chris Godwin, who got past the sticks. He couldn't secure the catch. You had Carl Granderson with a really good play when Baker Mayfield tried to toss the play off. I believe that was to Bucky Irvin. He was able to get right into the backfield, read it really well. I believe the Saints stopped Tampa 5 times on 4th down, man. That is incredible. 5 times on 4th down. So the Saints defense definitely came to play. And, shockingly, the Saints, they have a top 15 defense. I mean, but I think the issue is nobody really pays attention to analytics like that because the team isn't winning, right? I mean, nobody pays attention to how well a defense looks if you only have 2 wins to show for it. In this case, 3 wins to show for it. But it's good to see that the defense is stepping up. Young players are making plays. You're seeing guys going out there. They may give up a play or 2, but they'll come right back. They'll have that mental amnesia, and they'll just go ahead and continue to fight. Because you look at Alontae Taylor on that screen pass on an opening drive for Tampa. You're seeing Baker Mayfield dump the ball down to Bucky Irvin. Just a bad angle by him. But then he comes back a couple of plays later and gets an interception, gets the ball back to the New Orleans Saints. So, credit to those young guys out there in the secondary. Credit to those guys on the defensive line, getting penetration, getting those stops on 4th down, and neutralizing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. No wide receiver really made any noise for Tampa. I mean, I'm looking at the stats for these wide receivers. You had Chris Godwin, 5 catches for 55 yards. You had Bucky Irvin, 2 catches for 26. Cade Iden, 3 catches for 19. Emeka Buka only had 2 catches for 15 yards. Sterling Shepard, 1 catch for 5. So nobody really stood out. I mean, Chris Godwin made a couple plays early in the game, and then in the second half, he wasn't really a factor. So the secondary of the Saints really, kind of zeroed in on the defense. On the offense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and neutralizing the passing game. We still had against the run, great against the pass. Yeah, I mean, we still got the Saints still got struggles defensively, and I think that that's just what they are this season. That's something that they're going to have to correct going into next season. You're going to have to get a big nose tackle, a guy that can plug up the middle of the field, the A gap, in order to take 2 guys with them. But I don't think you're going to get that this season. The Saints, or what you see is what you get right now. We beat the Bucs and Falcons lost, so it's a great week, yo. Yeah, I mean, look, the Falcons got beat to sleep. I mean, I'm just waiting on the notification that Raheem Morris got fired. Like I'm just looking for it, man, because guess what, bro? Like, man, look, that's unacceptable. I'm looking for him to be fired in any minute now. Let's see. Faker is highly overrated. I don't think Baker Mayfield overrated. I think he deserves to be talked about. He's a tough, gritty guy. You know, I think he's a tough, gritty guy. And, you know, like if Baker Mayfield was your quarterback, you'll love him. Like, it's just the fact that he plays for another team and he's talking noise about a team you like. You don't like him. But look, I think that Baker, you know, I think that Baker is a tough guy. And I like to see Baker Mayfield play, man. He's a tough guy. Hey, TJ, what should we focus on in the upcoming draft? I think that if we draft a starting guard and or sign 2 starting guards, it would really turn this team around. Yeah, I think the Saints need somebody that's a completely, a complete pass rusher. I think the Saints need somebody that's going to demand a double team and somebody that's going to give you double-digit sacks a year. I think that's something that the Saints are missing. It seems to me early in the games, you start to see guys kind of, show up like Chase Young and Cam Jordan and Carl Granderson. But then as the game starts to kind of settle down, they kind of get lost. And the big plays are few and far in between from your defensive front. So I think the Saints need someone that is going to be, I think it's a way too big of an ask. Like, but if you could, like a Myles Garrett, a TJ Watt, a Michael Parsons type guy that demands a double team, that's going to give you double-digit sacks and can be a complete disruptor every single game. That's what the Saints need. But they definitely need help on the interior as well. But to me, I think that if you get yourself a difference maker when it comes to an edge rusher, I think it can change this team tremendously. Yeah, they calling for his head here in Atlanta. That was before today's game. Yeah, and I heard it, man. I heard it. Man, I heard the boos because, I mean, that game was close. I think what they went into the half, it was like 9-9 or something like that. Or it was tied or 6-6. Then all of a sudden, Rashid Shaheed returned that kick, and then that was it. That was it. Like, they just blew the doors off. I mean, absolutely got steamrolled, smoked. I'm talking about brisket smoke. That was unbelievable. But, yeah, man, look, he probably going to get fired. Type guy I was about to say we can't afford them. Well, the Saints can afford them. They should be able to afford them. They should have a better cap situation going into 2026. Let's see. The Sucks want Bowles gone anyway. Carolina going to tease it from the. I don't think so. I don't think, regardless of if Tampa makes the playoffs or not, that Todd Bowles is going to get fired. Like, that ain't happening. You don't win a division 3 consecutive times and fire your coach. Like, it just don't happen like that. We still got Torricelli Simpkins in the wing just in case we trade Caesar chicken salad. Look, the Noah chop. Look, it is the thing, man. Look, I like Torricelli Simpkins as much as the next man, and I think he's a really good kid, man. But at the end of the day, you need something better. Like, you need something that's a more polished product. You need somebody that's going to be a complete difference maker, flirting with an all-pro. Like, I don't want to, like, it'll be great if the Saints end up getting like a guard, and let's just say that guard is flirting with all-pro, and then Torricelli Simpkins has like a monster offseason where, he gets into the weight room, and then all of a sudden, like, he shows that agility and that speed, and all of a sudden it's like he becomes undeniable. I'm cool with that. But the Saints need to be looking for guys that's flirting with all pros, not projects, not guys, oh man, he shows some promise, he shows some flash. No, they need to fix this offensive line with a sure thing, like a guy that is going to come in, that is going to make an immediate impact, just like Calvin Banks is right now on the left side. Like, Calvin Banks has made an immediate impact. He'll probably give you a penalty or two, and he'll probably make a mistake, but there's not a person that is rooting for this team that looks at Calvin Banks and says the Saints made the wrong decision at left tackle. That is what the Saints need on the interior. Like, and if you don't have that, then, we still going into 2026 with the same situation. You need a sure thing. And if Torricelli Simpkins is a project and he's not a sure thing, you don't need that. And I like the guy. Like, I hope that he, like, the light comes on for him. I hope that he ends up like becoming a really good interior lineman. That would be great for the Saints. But you don't go into 2026 and don't draft the guy because you believe in Torrey Simpkins. No. Like, you go out here and you try to get what's the dude name from Oregon? You know, you try to get that guard. You try to get, I don't know, you try to get Proctor or something like that, man. You try to get somebody that's like gonna be on his offensive line, that's gonna be an absolute dog, that's gonna be able to make a difference right away. Like, all these projects is the reason why we having these conversations every single week about the Saints offensive line. Get some dogs up in here, like invest some money in free agency on a guy that you know if you put him on his football team on offensive line, he's going to make an immediate impact. Anything else, like, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. Hey, TJ, what about Vele? I'm glad he's proven he was worth the 4th rounder. We really needed that. Yeah, I'm glad too. It seemed to me all he needed was an opportunity. And man, I don't know. Like, the more I'm starting to look at this, the more I feel like the New Orleans Saints kind of cost themselves hardship because they weren't utilizing the guys that put the team in the best position to succeed. Like, what if they would have ended up using Vele earlier in the season? Who knows? They probably would have maybe won a couple more games, right? But it took Brandon Cooks leaving. It took Rashid Shaheed being traded in order for him to see any type of playing time. And you can make an argument over the last couple of weeks, Devon Vele has been the best wide receiver on the team. So I don't know, man. It's like one of those situations where you kind of cause yourself hardship, if that makes any sense. But I'm glad, like, it's better late than never. It's better late than never. TJ, if we can somehow get Reese in the first and Chris Bell in the second or late first, we cooking with grease. Yeah, I mean, look, if you can get Arvell Reese, which at number 5 as of right now, you're probably not going to get him 504. Like, this guy's too good. You got the Tennessee Titans still got the Giants. I believe as of right now, they got the first pick in the draft. Who knows what they're going to do with that? And then you have the Tennessee Titans at second. So you got the Saints all the way down at 5. I don't see Arvell Reese like being all the way there at 5 for the Saints. I just don't. Like, at 3 or 2, yeah, you probably be able to get him. But at 5, you're not getting Arvell Reese. I'll admit, I was on Rattler to start the season, but after seeing Shough, I'm starting to believe that Shough can lead this team. We avoided the sweep. Well, that's good. That's good. Like, you don't want to get swept by your division rivals. Thank you, Tyra, for the $5. Look, I still believe in Spencer Rattler. I still think that Spencer Rattler has talent. I think that he has like a really good skill set. But I just think when you look at Tyler Shough and what he has brought to the table, I just think that this offense just looks better with him leading it. And some people were saying like, oh man, they basically look the same. I think today we pretty much have to concede that they don't. There are certain things that Tyler Shough does that is beneficial to this team. And maybe if he wasn't doing them, then his offense would look even worse. So it's not a shot at Spencer Rattler at all. It's just a fact. And I think that he made a lot of Saints fans understand and believe and see that you can win football games with this guy. But he has to continue to build. Louis Riddick was on the Shough train since the draft. He did a lot of Louisville games. He was on it. Pause. Yeah, I mean, look, Louis Riddick. I spoke to Deion Branch, who is also a member of the, Louisville Cardinal coaching staff, of course. I talked to him, about Tyler Shough. He was really, really high on Tyler. So, I mean, you had a lot of guys that was high on Tyler Shough. And, but, you always got to be skeptical about these guys that kind of just come out of nowhere. And that's kind of what Tyler Shough was. Like, Tyler Shough was that quarterback. And it happens every year. And you'll see it in this year's draft. There'll be a quarterback that nobody was really talking about. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have the draft prognosticators and scouts, going to be big up in them. You're going to be like, man, who is this dude? And, now it's about that time for me to really start to kind of zero in on some of these quarterbacks and position guys. I told y'all, I when I'm focused on the season, like I'm focused on the season because I don't buy into like, oh, look how good this guy looks in this game at this time. Like, I go look at the good games, the bad games, and all that kind of stuff to try to draw my conclusions on the players. But yeah, man, you see that every year. But my point is, nobody was really checking for Tyler Shough because nobody really knew who Tyler Shough was. Like, nobody knew who he was. So, I mean, justifiably so if you were like, man, who is this dude? Tyler also said, and thank you again for the $5, says, hey, TJ, I admit I thought we would lose this game, but I'm glad to be wrong. Yeah, we 3-10, but I always, and I mean always, take a W over the Bucs. Yeah, look, I'll take a W any day of the week over the Bucs, over the Falcons, over the Panthers, or any other NFL team. I agree with you on that. I don't think anybody really, expected the Saints to win this football game, but the fact that they went out there and they made it happen, you got to give credit where credit is due. Jeff Braun does a good job developing quarterback. Yeah, he definitely does, man. I mean, his reputation is definitely is held in high regard by a lot of scouts. So yeah, he does a really good job, man. I'm glad that Tyler Shough looks like he's starting to come into his own. But you got to continue to build on it. Like you can't read into your press clippings. You can't be out here, people seeing you in the street. You can't buy into that new shop making a sandwich out of you. Like, you can't do that. Like, you got to stay focused and keep your eyes on the prize, man, and continue to build on the momentum that you have. The boys made us very proud today. Yeah, it was a really good game, really good complimentary football, both on all three sides, offense, defense, and special teams. Yeah, Shough is better than Rattler. I still think Rattler can go play good for a team that fits his strengths. I agree. I agree that he can play well for a team. I just think that when it all comes down to it, what you have with Tyler Shough is showing you that he can do more with less. Spencer Rattler is more of that quarterback that you need more around him, right? I mean, you kind of need a really good running game. You need some wide receivers that can get their yards after the catch, after you throw the ball to him, but and he's a guy that can make some plays as well. But I think that based on what the Saints need at this point, I think that Tyler Shough is the guy. And Tyler Shough is showing you, like, you put some more talent around him, like, like a really good running game or, another really good receiver. I think that, the Saints could win way more games than they won this season. I know that's not saying a lot, but y'all get what I'm saying. Most of us Saints fans wanted Shadur Sanders. That's why Shough had hit so hard, to be honest, TJ. Yeah, I agree. A lot of Saints fans wanted Shadur Sanders. Some of them wanted Jackson Dart. Some felt like the Saints needed to jump back in the first round to try to get Jackson Dart. But when you look at Tyler Shough, like, number one, like I said, nobody was really talking about this guy like that, right? Nobody was really singing his praises. Like, you heard Jackson Dart when he was at Ole Miss. You heard about Shadur at Colorado. You heard about Cam Ward at Miami. Like, you heard about these quarterbacks and you've seen them play on some big stages or were highly profiled, right? And you look at Tyler Shough, like, man, where does this dude come from? Like, man, what a late night 8:00 game that nobody watching and everybody talking about this dude is NFL ready. So the fact that he came in pretty much unheralded, it pretty much, raised the eyebrows of the Who Dat Nation. And, he had to do it the hard way. And I'm glad that, Saints fans are starting to come around and seeing this guy's talent and his abilities and his strength, because, I think that you can win with this guy, and he's showing you that he is worth building around. What do you think about the Saints if they draft Jeremiah Love in the first and go for a wide receiver later, because this is a deep wide receiver class? I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad if the Saints went after Jeremiah Love. I think that he's a dynamic running back. I definitely feel like you can fix your offensive line and make him as effective as possible. But when you look at this team, you have to ask yourself, like, are they a running back away from reaching their full potential? Probably not, right? I mean, it would be great to get Jeremiah Love, but would you want Jeremiah Love over a dynamic pass rusher that can get you double-digit sacks? Probably not. Would you want him over a guy that's a dynamic wide receiver that can give you 100 catches or mess around, be mentioned as one of the NFL elite at wide receiver? Probably not, right? So, I wouldn't be objective to that, because the Saints got so many different needs on both sides of the football. But You know, if they was to get Jeremiah Love, I wouldn't be upset with that. But I would have to ask myself, if you had a chance to get a double-digit sack guy coming out of college and you went with Jeremiah Love, like, was that the best decision? I'm still here, but I'm listening. Okay, appreciate it, Jerry. We about to go ahead and get up out of here anyway. He says, I was shocked about Tyler with his injury history, but I think he's here to stay. Yeah, I mean, look, he had like some unfortunate injuries, but I wouldn't call him injury prone. You know, like, you know, it was like unfortunate situations that happened. Maybe somebody rolled over his leg or something like that. But I mean, that could happen even if you stayed in a pocket. Like, people are like, man, I wouldn't be, you know, I would be kind of skeptical about him running, but you can get hurt, you know, tear everything you have in the pocket. Like, we see Daniel Jones today, man, he in a pocket. Like, nobody touched him, tore his Achilles. Well, it looks like he tore his Achilles, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, like, man, things happen. It's football. Jalen Polk was even solid with the Patriots, and he got the dog mentality of a George Pickens, in my opinion. Well, if he has that, then you got something. Shout out to Tulane and LSU Lady Tigers. Yeah, shouts out to Tulane, man, putting Louisiana on the map this year. Saints not really doing it. LSU not doing it, you know. Southern not doing it. You know, Tulane being a part of the college football playoff, congratulations to them. Quarterbacks always get the consideration over other positions. That's true, because it's a high-profile position. They're the face of the league. Same here, TJ, always listening while at work. I appreciate that, Damien. Thanks for that. Appreciate y'all listening. Silly says, everyone gets her eventually, the nature of the beast. Says roll wave. Yeah, man. Shouts out to the Tulane Green Wave, man. And putting Louisiana on the map, representing Louisiana in the college football playoff. Gonna be a tough game against Ole Miss, but who knows, man? Ole Miss got a lot of things going on right now. TJ, did you watch Jalen Polk coming out of Washington? Yes, I did. I did watch Jalen Polk. I thought he was a really talented wide receiver. TJ, do we take Rattle as a backup quarterback? I think you do. I think you do, unless like a team like decides to like make a trade for him. Then, you know, you see what they're talking about and you trade him. And, you know, if you can get yourself a veteran quarterback that can be behind Tyler Shough, that can help you win some games, why not? But I would say keep him. I'm still thinking about had Olave catch that game winner against Miami last week. Yeah, man. I mean, look, Chris Olave, that's why I said, man, Chris Olave is a star and not a superstar. And, you know, it's not a bad thing. I think that we just have to recognize that. And I'm not in a business of trying to put pressure on guys that isn't warranted. Like, we only look at Chris Olave to be that guy because, like, when it comes to the pecking order, like, he's the best. But I don't look at him as a top tier number one receiver. I just don't. I think he's talented. I think that he's a high quality wide receiver. I don't think like he's one of the worst. Like, but I don't see superstar. I don't. If the New Orleans Saints can get a superstar wide receiver go alongside Chris Olave would be a great, like, he will be a great high, like a really high 1B / number 2 wide receiver. But I just don't see, I just don't see top. I just don't see a top wide receiver. I just don't. Thank God Tyler Shough has balled out on the field, TJ. He got a solid mojo soul power, just like Shane Soon carry. Yeah. I assume you're talking about the guy who from Mortal Kombat that passed away. Yeah, may he rest in peace. Let's see. TJ is Shough rookie of the year. No, I don't think he's rookie of the year. I think you have some other rookies out there that's played a lot more football and have done a little bit more than he has. I think I think he can make it interesting down the stretch, especially if he goes out here and they win, a couple more games. Then he could probably put himself in a conversation. I think, you're probably looking at guys like Emeka Egbuka and Jackson Dart and, guys like that from the offensive side of the football. Steve, not Stevenson, Henderson, out there with the Patriots, he's starting to make some noise. So, you got some guys out there that can, be a part of that conversation. But I don't think that Tyler Shough has done enough for people to be looking at him as being in that conversation. Let's see. I wonder what our draft pick will be if we are confident with Tyler now. Well, look, I still think the Saints gonna probably fall between 5 and 6. It's a good win this week. Let me see. I'm not sure. Let me see where they playing next week. Okay, so they play the Panthers. Okay, so the Saints play the Panthers next week at 4:25. So the Panthers are coming off their bye week, and then you have the Jets, the Titans, and then you finish your season against the Falcons. So, I mean, look, you could probably win maybe 1 or 2 more of those games, probably even 3. Depends on like where the Falcons at. How DOA they are. But yeah, you can probably end the season on a high note. Are there any players on Tulane you think the Saints should draft? I would probably have to take a look at some of those guys on that team. I would probably have to take a look. But no, based on what I'm thinking about right now, probably not. TJ, you remember you wanted the Saints to draft T-Mac, boy, legit, man, for real. Yeah. I mean, Roy McMillan definitely would have been that 50-50 ball guy. But you know what? I don't feel like I'm just saying this as being prisoner of a moment. I think the Saints got their 50-50 ball guy, Devon Bailey. The Saints just need a dynamic. The Saints just need a dynamic wide receiver. They need that Michael Thomas superstar type guy on their team, man, to be able to like just really take over a game. Like they get that, then I think they'll be fine. But Devon Bailey has a really good catch radius. He doesn't really drop too many passes, and he's a reliable target. No one is threatening Chris Olave's job either. It's not like we have a deep wide receiver roster, but I like Chris, but he has no fire. I think that I think he has a really good skill set. I like the fact that the Saints use him as a deep threat, but I do think that they just need somebody else that's a little bit more dynamic all around. Tyler Shough MVP. Let's pump our brakes on that. Let's pump your brakes. I mean, good game, but MVP. Whoo. Let's see. Tyler started hella late, so he hasn't really had enough playing time to become Rookie of the Year. But if he keeps it up, he can put his name in there. He can get a vote. But I don't see him. I don't see him winning Rookie of the Year. Hey, TJ, thoughts on Lane Kiffin, and can he get us back to real LSU ball? Yes, I do. I like Lane Kiffin, despite the fact of his reputation of people feeling like he kind of on some Bobby Petrino type stuff where, handshake and he out the door. But look, I think that this is a great opportunity for Lane Kiffin. Like, I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than LSU, as far as college football. They are a powerhouse, and, he is going to attract guys because he understands the modern day landscape of college football. I think that when you look at college football, who are the guys that are winning, right? It's the coaches that are charismatic. It's the coaches that aren't afraid to beat their chest. They're not afraid to call guys out on some Muhammad Ali stuff like, yeah, we about to beat y'all. Like, you got to be able to appeal to this younger crowd. You got to be able to appeal to this young generation here. And when you look at, Lane Kiffin, like, he ain't afraid of that. Like, he ain't afraid of the smoke. He's not afraid to get up in your face. And, these young kids like that kind of stuff. They rally around that type of stuff. And I just think that kind of coincides with the pulse and the energy of Louisiana football. Like, Louisiana football, it has that us against the world type mentality. It has that, like, look, if you ride with us, we gonna ride with you type mentality. So Lane Kiffin fits that type of culture. So I think he can turn it around. Like I said, he is part of that new coaching regime that is starting to like kind of show up and have that brash, arrogant disposition about themselves. And as you can see, your guys like the Dabo Sweeneys, those type of guys, like even Tim Beck out here at Coastal Carolina, like those guys are more traditionalists, right? Come and sit in your living room, eat your mom's pot roast and promise you the moon and the stars. And, then when you get there, they expect for you to work. And it's unfortunate, man. A lot of these young cats out here ain't trying to do no work. They get mad at the drop of a hat, and you got to try to appeal to them and be like, oh, man, we going to need you. We going to need you. They ain't trying to compete. And you have these older guards, they expected for these guys to come in and be able to compete in major college football. But, I think Lane Kiffin kind of speaks the language of the modern day college football player. So he'll turn them around. Kellen did better play calling today somewhat, though expected for that one play at the end. Man, I think the rain played a factor in this game. I would be interested. I would be interested to see. And, we all know about the what if this, what if that, right? I mean, we don't know. But I'm just wondering, like, what type of game he would have called if it didn't rain. Lane got the top defensive lineman already. We haven't got a top lineman in a while. Yeah, and that's what type of appeal he brings. Lane going to be great for us. At least Tulane in the playoffs. Go Green Waves. True. Some of those interceptions weren't his fault. Yeah, we talk about interception. Look, man, like interceptions don't define like what a quarterback is. Like we got to stop this. We got to stop this, man. Like anytime a quarterback throw an interception, oh man, that's who y'all want. Like, yeah, that's who we want. Like guys gonna throw interception. Like I don't care how great your quarterback play is. Like you're gonna throw an interception eventually. I don't care if you're a multi-time MVP. I don't care if you're the greatest quarterback of all time. You're gonna throw an interception. You're gonna have a bad game. I just don't understand how people just sit in front of their television, watch a guy play, see him play more consistent football than not, but everybody's talking about him. So let me go against this guy and we'll see what all the talk about. And I sit there with my head held high, hate watching. Then all of a sudden he makes one mistake. Oh, this is who y'all want? Like, yeah, this is who I want. Like, go back and do research. Go watch the games. Like interceptions and fumbling a football, like that's not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? Like guys are going to do that. I don't think that defines the way you should evaluate a quarterback. Like, is his game elevated? Like, yeah, there's some interceptions, but is there some things that you're actually seeing from the quarterback position you feel like you can build on? That is the way that I evaluate the quarterback position, not this, oh, he threw a 20-yard pass. Oh, he just threw a 10-yard pass. Oh, he balling. No. Oh, he just threw a pick. Oh, he just fumbled the football. Oh, man, this dude ain't good. We need another quarterback. Like, that ain't the way you evaluate the position, in my opinion. But to each his own. Shough, a gunslinger, he's going to get some interceptions. LOL, that's just a part of being a gunslinger. Yeah, look, it's going to happen. Like, I don't evaluate quarterbacks based on interceptions. Like, oh, he has 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Oh, he has 10 touchdowns, and he also has 5 interceptions. He had 3 in one game. Like, bro, come on, man. Like that don't always define a quarterback. Like sometimes, a quarterback just not good. But I've seen quarterbacks throw interceptions, have rocky seasons, and then all of a sudden, some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Like you got to allow these quarterbacks to figure it out. Everybody is not just going to jump off the turnip truck and be Joe Montana or Tom Brady or Drew Brees. Like you got to allow this thing to kind of percolate a little bit. Got to let this thing kind of stew a little bit and see where you're at. Like you're looking at Tyler Shough. First game that he played, he came in doing mop-up duty against Tampa, and a lot of the throws that he was making, like they wasn't really good throws. Then all of a sudden you see him against the Rams. Okay, the Rams are one of the best teams in the league. Didn't really look as star-studded, but he made some plays. That was a really good pass he threw to Juwan Johnson. Okay, cool. Then you seen him against, the Carolina Panthers, where you start to see him extend plays and able to improvise. And like you see every single week something that Tyler Shough is starting to improve on. You're seeing some of the things that you were critical about in week 10 that he fixed in week 11. And to me, that is the recipe for success. Are you becoming a better version of yourself week after week? Are you improving week after week? That is the name of the game. If you're not doing that, then guess what? Then I don't feel like you're improving as a quarterback. But every single week I see him making plays and developing chemistry with his wide receivers and doing stuff with his wide receivers and pass catchers that I didn't see the week before. So to me, that is how I'm evaluating the quarterback position. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, Saints get the victory 24-20. Before we get up out of here, I failed to mention the defensive performances of the New Orleans Saints. I got to give those guys credit in this game. But who led the team in tackles today? It was Kool-Aid McKinstry with 7. Demario Davis also had 7 tackles in the game. Jordan Howden with 6. Carl Granderson with 5. Nate Shepard with 5. Chris Rumph with 4. Danny Stutzman and Devon Goshaw also had 4. Pete Warner had 3 tackles, along with Quincy Riley. Ernest Sinker had 3 tackles. You had Brian Brzee with 2. Cam Jordan with 2. Jonah Williams had 2 tackles. Terrell Burgess with 2. Alontae Taylor with 2 also had an interception. Taysom Hill, Mike Davis, Isaac Yadam, Chase Young, Devin Neal, and Jonathan Bullitt all had 1 tackle. Okay, of course, like I mentioned, Alontae Taylor had an interception. He returned it for 10 yards. You had Dante Pettis on special teams, returned 4 kicks for 84 yards. Mason Tipton, 1 return for 54 yards. Like I said, I don't know why they stopped using Mason Tipton in the return game. But, I thought, the guy opened up the game and had a 54-yard return. Why wouldn't you want to use him? But I guess they wanted to use him in a passing game as well. My final thoughts is this was a good win for the Saints. They played complimentary football, probably the best performance as a team this entire season out of the 3 wins that they have. Will they be able to, build on this? They have a home, excuse me. Yeah, they do. They have a home game next week versus the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers coming off of a bye week. They upset the Los Angeles Rams. This time, they're going to be looking to beat the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, knocked off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which means that the Carolina Panthers are looking at this as an opportunity to be in first place in the NFC South. So can the New Orleans Saints sweep the Carolina Panthers and, inside of the Superdome, or will the Carolina Panthers get their lick back? We'll get you caught up on that matchup throughout the week. Also, make sure that you check out Bleacher Report for the New Orleans Saints Minute, short videos talking about your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints, throughout the week. And, of course, right here on the State of the Saints podcast for all information pertaining to your team, the New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. You can follow me on X at TJAYJones8. You can subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, we won you over if you just tuned in. New to the channel, hopefully you hit that subscribe button. We got previous episodes available to you right here on YouTube, interviews, little funny Saints songs, just great entertainment. If you're into that type of stuff, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out every Tuesday at 8 p.m. the NFC South Roundtable. Myself, along with Berto, Clay, and James, breaking down our teams that, from the NFC South. So make sure that you tune in on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I got to say is, who dat?